Hi everyone, welcome to the studio today. Today we're actually going to be looking at foils and translucent clay. So I'm going to create pretty much just a foil and translucent clay striped cane, and we're going to use that to create some gorgeous beads. So you can actually create some beautiful effects with this and yeah, something that's really quite lovely. All right, just on different colors of base clay, which is quite beautiful. All right, now I've pre-prepared a couple of pieces here already, and I'm going to just quickly do this one. I actually had that there because it was so shiny. So we'll just cover that little bit over. Now you can see already that I have burnished 2 sheets of translucent clay already, and I'm just going to very quickly do the last one here. Now let me show you my clay. I am using Premo, and it is at the very thinnest setting on the pasta machine. So mine starts at a 1 is the thickest and 9 is the thinnest. So I've gone down to the very thinnest setting of the pasta machine. The thickness you have in your layers will determine the finished look. I actually like a really fine layer because then I don't see very much of the translucent and I find I get a clearer piece. All right, so I'm just going to use this little leftover piece here for my final one. Now let's just have a quick chat while I'm doing the burnishing. If you are unsure how to burnish, then you can look at the very first video in the process, and I think it was just foils and polymer clay. So I'm simply going to pop this down and burnish to attach it to my clay. I'm just going to do it this way. I might actually pop that on. And we're just going to talk about the foil here for a moment. I'll do it this way so you can see. The foil that I've got is a variegated color. So I'm going to get a different look in my beads. I'm going to get all these different colors showing up from the foils. If you use a foil that's a solid color, just know that your finished look is going to be quite different. So you can play around with the different colored foils you have. I would highly recommend this process. Use foils that will transfer very easily to polymer clay. I'm using Lisa Pavelka foils, just like that. A couple of tiny bits there that didn't, and you see that really didn't need much burnishing at all. I know that this foil in particular transfers beautifully. So let me just move that out of the way. So I've got 3 sheets of foils here. I'm going to pick this one up very, very carefully because it's ultra thin. And I'm just going to sit it on top of this one. And this Premo clay is very sticky, so it's perfect. And I might just get this one. And I know, look, it hasn't really gone all to the edges, but I don't really mind about that. I'm going to put that one on top of there. And if I've got air bubbles, I don't really mind about that either. Okay, I'll just move that one because that first one was quite stuck as well. So I'm just releasing from the work surface. So I've now just got a little stack like that. So I've really just got the foil and clay layers, and look, they're sticking together really well. That foil isn't acting as a resist, I think, because the Premo clay is so sticky. So I'm cutting in half, rough, near enough is good enough, stacking, cutting in half and stacking, again, near enough is good enough. And I might do it this way as well. You can, of course, do more clay, you can do bigger pieces, whatever you want to do. Now, I am going to, whoops, that bit came off there, that's okay. We'll just go like that. I am going to manipulate this stack ever so slightly. If you want to try creating impressions, let's just do that. 2 seconds. Okay, if you want to try creating some impressions, that might make a difference to how your stack is going to look when it's cut. Just going to manipulate it a little bit more. The thing I'm not going to do, I'm not going to stretch my clay and have a long skinny piece like this, because what is going to happen, I'm actually going to stretch my foil and I'm going to decrease the intensity of the metallic, because of course if you have a foiled sheet of clay and you run it through the pasta machine, it actually crackles and gets less and less intense in color. So I'm just going to kind of keep it in basically the same shape, but just manipulate those layers a little bit. It doesn't even have to be much, it's the way that you shave it off can create some different effects as well. All right, so if this is really, really soft for you, pop it in the fridge to warm up so that you can slice your very thin layers off. All right, I have a pre-prepared base here already. I'm just going to pop that there to see if I can minimize the shine. There we go. All right, so we are now going to cut some very thin layers from this. I'm just going to get it in a position where I can see it a little bit better and you can still see it with the through the camera there. All right, so normally this top piece I leave. I'm just going to try this blade. This little blade might be a bit better. Okay, that's coming off nicer. So we'll just use this nice little sharp blade. I'm going to get down to a point where I kind of like what I'm seeing. And this top one here is quite nice. I'm quite happy to flatten it like that. Doesn't matter. All right, thin, thin, thin slices we want. Okay. And you can pop them here if you want to, just on some paper. So cut a few slices and then you can see which ones you like that you want to actually put onto your bead, because the further down you go, you might find some better slices. Now these are really, really thin, so treat them very carefully. Might smush that down a bit more. Can you see all those beautiful layers in there? It's just so gorgeous. And because I use that variegated colour, I get to see all the colours in this piece, which is quite lovely. Okay, so if I do it too thick, I'm going to end up with a lot of translucent clay in lumps. I'm actually not thinning these out any. I'm just going to position some on the surface. Now, I don't have to fill the entire surface. In fact, I might not do that with this one. I might just do a few bits around. I kind of like this little bit here. Looks nice, doesn't it? Let's get that bit there. That might be a bit fat there, so I'm going to cut off that chunky bit. And I'm actually going to thin that chunky bit down in my fingers. Not too much, but just so it's a little bit thinner. Because as I said, I don't want big chunks of clay, because my translucent is going to, show up and not be overly clear. All right, I think I might just put a teeny bit more, a nice thin bit, just to cover that bit there. It looks a bit like it was just plonked on. So we'll just cover that. All right, so now we just roll in our hands until that has all smoothed down into the surface. So let's just, and I swear I can never make a round bead. More often than not, I try and go for a very organic, obviously not round, because I just can't do round very much. Okay, but I'm happy with that. So what I'm going to do with this now, I'm just going to pierce a thread hole through this, and I might, let's just get this out of the way. I might just shape it. I won't do the thread hole, but I want to shape it so that I've got nice areas to look at. Okay, so this is going to be where one thread hole will go. So notice I'm flattening it. So my thread hole, let me just find, I have a skewer here actually, so we'll just do it. Okay, so I'm just going to go through that section, twist and push. I'm just holding really gently, just twisting and pushing until I can see it the other side, and then go back in from the other side. And I'm going to make this quite an obvious oval shape, or kind of, I don't know what shape it is actually, probably not oval. Now I think about it, it's like a flattened circle. So I'm making it quite obviously not a round shape. And you can see some of the gorgeous, let me just see if I can get that clearer, some of the gorgeous patterns we've got on the surface there. So I'm going to cure this, and then once it's cured, I don't need to come back after that to show you. Once it's cured, I can add my sealer of choice, or you don't have to, you can sand the surface. This one has actually got Kato liquid clay. In actual fact, I've used Kato liquid clay on all of these, and in my opinion, it brings out the shine so much. So if you're unsure how to use Kato liquid clay to create a beautiful glossy finish on a round bead or a three-dimensional object, I actually have a tutorial for that on my website. So if you go to my website, which is justdebbiecrothers.com, you can find the tutorial about how to create a gorgeous, luscious finish with Kato liquid clay. So let's just put that one down. This one is ready for curing, so he's all done. You can look, you can do any shape you want. It's, you know, never ending. I just want to show you this one. I'm just going to bring this one in to show you. And this is actually the sheet of clay that I had burnished with a foil rolled up into a jelly roll. And can you see the gorgeous finish it gives? So just another little option for using your foils, not in a flat striped piece, but rolled in a jelly roll. What else can you think to do with foils and translucents? Honestly, there is so much that you can do. Okay, well, I think that is it for now. Thank you for watching, everyone. Bye for now.